Once, man and those in the water were linked.
Aquaration!
Man's need to own everything led him deeper into land.
Wait, the premise of this story hinges on humans leaving beaches to go further inland? As if humans abandoned living next to water altogether because they had aspirations of founding Kansas. To believe this story is to believe that the biggest populations aren't located near water, and that's just some bullshit I can't fathom, pun intended.
War upon war played out, as there were no guides to listen to.
If you have to tell me a story before you can tell me your story, I don't want to hear your story.
Now, those in the water are trying again, trying to reach us.
But why? Aren't humans the shittiest species on the planet at this point? What do the people of the water think they can do?
But their enemies roam the land.
Their enemies? The people of the water have enemies? On land? When the did this happen?
Try to help man, but man may have forgotten how to listen.
You just said that man didn't listen well anyway, right at the beginning of the story, and that's when man was interacting with the Aquaman on the regular. So even if they can listen, what's the point? Humans are f***ing terrible. No one will be seated during the 80-second long one take of Paul Giamatti killing a huge bug.
Cleveland Heap.
M. Night Shyamalan has a go at the worst character names of all time record that was demolished by Castor and Pollux Troy in 1997.
Mr. Heap!
Character introduction by Ass.
I hear splashing some nights.
Man, you've never gone to check what the splashing is? You've been trying to solve the mystery of who's been swimming in the pool for several nights, and you've just never looked?
I think someone may have died, and the body is decomposing.
I'm calling it right now. The twist in this movie is that it's not a body, and no one has died. This is merely what you smell when someone presses play to watch The Village.
U.S. forces predicted today the enemy estimated at 3 to 4,000.
Throughout the movie, you can hear TV and radio broadcasts describing some sort of war, because again, if you don't realize, humans have always been bad and continue to be bad. However, the discovery of a water creature spawned because Ron Howard f***ed a mermaid on the set of Splash will make humans better again. I think that's what the message of this movie is. Running by the pool.
Where are you from?
The Blue World.
The best name this utopian society could come up with was the Blue World. I'm guessing they wanted to be even less creative and call it Waterworld, but that would have infringed on copyrights. Also, she understands English, which isn't all that crazy since humans and the sea people have a history, but if she knows English, you'd think she'd clarify what the Blue World means. This is pronoun gaming a location.
I don't even know your name.
My name is Dory.
Why am I not stuttering?
Because, George, you were never born. I'm about to show you that you've had a a fantastic life. It's a fantastic life, George.
Why are you scared?
I would tell you, but we gotta turn a bedtime story into a full-length feature film somehow. I'll say something about not fully trusting you, or I did it to protect you later. Also, story is addicted to stories.
About how tall is it?
No,
How the do you think the animal that ran after you is that tall? I understand overestimating the size of something, but you're stacking about 3 of those on top of each other to get to that kind of height. It's not that this movie doesn't have sense. It's just that for long stretches of time, absolutely nothing happens, and M. Night thinks it's brilliant. This is 16B, but earlier he clearly said,
this is Young Soon Choi. She lives with her mother in 8A.
busted continuity department.
She said that she knew someone who knew someone who saw one.
Hearsay.
She's successful in this.
자기 세계로 돌아가게 되고
She will return with the great eaglon, a giant eagle, and become free.
Wait, you mean she's not free when she's living in the utopian society underwater?
She won't tell me more.
I guarantee that the rest of this story is not a big deal whatsoever, and this old lady is wasting our motherfucking time. What is she worried will happen if she says the rest? Is she worried that Cleveland's found a Narf and that he's the chosen one?
It is a writer.
Do you know his name?
So wait, the League of Narfs or whatever told you that you needed to find a chosen one, and they knew he was a writer, but didn't know his name?
Is this person writing something important?
It is not lost on me that this person known as Story is looking for a great writer, something that will turn into the greatest story in the world. This is not the greatest story in the world, this is just a tribute. Anyway, I'm sure there won't be any ham-fisted heavy-handedness in this story about how creators gotta create and the haters are wolves who chomp down on creative inspiration.
You haven't written anything yet.
No, I haven't written anything for some time.
Of course, the critic is the uninspired dude who can't write and is probably only taking it out on the people who can write. I mean, this is apparently the character that represents all critics, even though there are a great many of them who bring up very valid points about how scenes don't contain lap dances when they should.
why there's a lot of butterflies around this building.
There's a lot of bad dialogue around this movie. This is an orgy of evidence that Jeffrey Wright's character loves to do crossword puzzles. But what's really weird is that we're told how amazing he is at them, but these are unfinished. Blatantly eavesdropping like a dick.
That's some serious freakage, man.
You don't even speak English anymore.
What, reekage? Damn straight it's English. The state of reek.
Having heard this conversation, I have come to the conclusion that I didn't need to.
She told me a little bit more of the story before she threw a cushion at me.
Just a little bit more. She couldn't just tell you the rest of the story. Paul Harvey is going to be pissed. Why are so many characters in this movie shot from behind, just out of frame, while Paul Giamatti talks to them?
She told me about a bad guy in story. These creatures are called Skrunts.
Well, she sure has a sense of story pacing, your mother, doesn't she?
They're meant to kill an off when she is out of the water.
I'm still trying to figure out how there's any mythology for the Skrunts. Did they exist in the time when the water people and the humans were getting along? The movie told us that the Skrunts' main purpose is to kill their water nymphs, known as the Narfs. But the water people only recently started sending the Narfs out, something they never did before. There was a period of time when the water people were trying to get in contact with the humans, but the movie said that they simply gave up because humans were too busy fighting wars. Anyway, I'm pretty sure that the whole thing about Skrunts was invented as a conflict for the movie to have, but considering they have only one purpose in life and that purpose only came up recently, how are there any stories about them?
My great-grandmother said that's why man never sees them.
Jesus, expositional Christ on a stack of waffles. Kleptomania.
Mr. Heap, the light over my desk is still not working.
Casting yourself in all your movies because you are vain. Just look at how many pencils this guy has on his desk. In a bucket, the way they bring you ketchup and other condiments at a cheap steak joint. This M. Night Slow Rider brother character that has 150 pencils in his goddamn shabby chic pencil holder container. What a spying nosy dick. This is exactly why people don't trust supers and landlords right here, because they do spying nosy
Cookbook.
No, Cleveland, it says the cookbook. And if you really think that an actual cookbook would start out this way, then I have lost all patience with you as a character.
It's actually just my thoughts on all the cultural problems, thoughts on leaders and stuff.
It's one thing to insert yourself into your own movie, but to give yourself the character of the writer that is the focal point of this movie, with all the messages about how creative people make the world a better place and that critics are rotten trolls that ruin the world for everybody, casting yourself as the tortured creative guy is a little too on the nose. I mean, Jesus, this would be like if Elia Kazan played the Marlon Brando character in On the Waterfront.
That is not how you fold.
There are so many pseudo-comic bits in this movie, written in the cadence of how people talk and act, without any sort of relatability. When this movie was panned, it was easy for some, like M. Night, to say, see, critics don't understand creativity. But the movie itself strains to seem quirky and interesting, like a computer read both Pulp Fiction and Signs and then created this screenplay. This is how you sound natural. Maybe you're not expecting a mermaid to come live with you half naked, but this sin here is not locking your diary.
You believe you have no purpose. You help all that live here.
Well, that ought to fix his soul that broke when his wife and kids were murdered.
All beings have a purpose.
Not politicians.
Do you need to see him alone, or does he just need to see you?
Can't someone have an answer to anything in this movie?
Nice meeting you.
I'm so very happy we saw each other.
I'm a big fan of uncut takes, and this movie has a lot of them, but goddamn, in this case, why doesn't the movie cut back to story when she says this line? What about this one take is so interesting that we can't cut away from this? How does a mirror this dirty help anyone? And if you refuse to clean a mirror for 10 years, do you not just tear it down or smash it in drunken frustration at some point?
What if that thing's out there? It'll try to get you?
There are laws. It will be safe.
Is it safe because there are laws, or is it not safe even though there are laws? Make up your goddamn mind.
Did the eagle come?
I'll take what Bill Clinton's Secret Service agent said for $400, please.
Did something go wrong? Story?
Wow, the first time a character answers a question in this movie, it ends up being a criticism.
Was it that dog again?
A Skrunt comes out of nowhere and attacks, and then we get nothing. The f is happening? Why are they able to almost casually run up the stairs to avoid it?
She's wearing no clothes under his shirt. Blim blam.
Hey, remember earlier in the movie when one of the stoners tried to turn Blim Blam into a thing? Yeah, I don't either, even though I'm mentioning it and showing the footage of it happening.
Mr. Heap is a player.
I could see Mr. Heap literally in the act of sexual intercourse, and I wouldn't come to this conclusion.
She says the story her grandmother told said a Skrunt has a poison that kills Narfs.
So, wait, earlier when your mom told you that Skrunts kill Narfs, the poison was never mentioned? Also, what kind of f***ed up bedtime story is this?
She said only a rogue Skrunt will break the law of that night because most Skrunts are afraid.
What is the Skrunt's purpose if most of them follow the law? If their main thing is to kill Narfs, then what do they do in the off-season?
Tatutik. They are the law keepers in this bedtime story. The legend says that they were born so evil that they killed their parents on the night they were born.
So these creatures are born so evil they aspire to a life of law enforcement? That makes zero sense. But I gotta say, M. Night could have made something super subversive here if he'd developed that idea any further.
They live in the trees. They are said to look like monkeys.
Am I already dead and in hell? If so, nicely played, Satan.
The fear of them has kept justice in the blue world for centuries.
You said that there are 3 of them, though. How do they cover enough area to keep justice going on for that long? Paul Scubamati. Cleveland jumps into the pool to find the mud that will save Story, and I can't believe I just wrote that sentence. Also, we find out later that Story dug this tunnel in this lair so she could live here. What about her makes you think she could dig a whole tunnel and lair by herself? Does she have huge claws? None of this makes any sense. Go to the object that form the shape of a penis. That is where you'll find your healing mud. This guy should be dead. He's dead. I want him dead. I want his family dead. Wait, that's an Untouchables quote that I slid into on accident. I think this guy's family is already dead. But this guy is dead. Double dead. I want his family dead. Wait, why do I keep going back to that? I know it's an Untouchables quote, but I'm not sure why I'm so obsessed with it. Someone go back and find the guy responsible for me doing this joke over and over, because I want him dead. I want his family dead. Wait, god damn it. Paul Giamatti has been holding his breath in this water long enough that I guess I'm just going to call this movie a dream. Anything can happen in a dream. Isn't that fun? Does this asshole MacGyver now? Now who's swinging in the pool after hours, eh, Heap?
Tell me more of the story.
Tell your mother to go f*** herself. She could have told this whole story 20 minutes ago and it would have knocked, 20 minutes off the runtime.
You have to make her see you as a child, innocent. Then she would tell you the bedtime story.
This story is clearly not worth the trouble it would take Cleveland to hear it. The f***ing internet existed back in 2006. I know, I was there. If this is a widely told tale, then someone's transcribed it for easy reading. He should have just put the camera on himself and told the bedtime story to the camera. He would have saved so much money and the quality difference would be negligible.
Will she know that she's a Madame Narf?
No, that is moral of a bedtime story. No one is ever told who they are.
I can see that being a rule, or a challenge to overcome, but that does not sound like the moral of the story at all. A moral would be if the Narf could figure out who she is and has to resist the temptation. He's spending a lot more time learning about the bedtime story than he is explaining to her the concept of pants.
I'm not allowed to speak of the blue world.
Is it because of spoilers? Because I can handle the spoilers.
I think that you're someone very important to everyone.
I thought you were supposed to keep that a secret, or else she loses. The great work by M. Night doesn't get written. We're spared The Last Airbender. Anyway, you're clearly breaking the moral of the story, and it's not even her fault.
I don't know who you are, but you did something to me. Everything became clearer.
My thoughts haven't been this clear since I wrote Stuart Little. This is the busiest f***ing apartment complex pool I have ever seen in my life. God damn. This scene where he has to behave like a child and leave on a milk mustache and lay down on the couch because the mother won't tell the story to a stranger only to a child goes on for some time.
Tell her I know that she is not allowed to tell about her world, but maybe I could ask some questions and she can just say if it's right or wrong.
It'll be like in that movie, All the President's Men, where confirming facts somehow means you didn't tell anyone anything. We know P is Porter, goddammit.
She would say, touch your ear, or something, if the answer is yes. So I would, and then she would know certain things, but I didn't really feel like I told my friends.
But then my friend Stacy was like, how the f*** did your mom know that I shoplifted that Hello Kitty backpack from that store that one time? You were the only one who knew that. And she beat me up. And so I realized this way of telling people things is stupid, but at least my conscience is clear. Also, they're doing this game of telephone because Story is naked in the shower. Why is it any less invasive for her to have a conversation while naked just because it's a woman looking at her?
All right, there's one other. I don't know if it's worth mentioning. It's not in the stories all the time.
But you heard everything you needed to know from Mrs. Choi, who got told the same story by her grandmother for years. Why would the story include a character in some tellings but not in others? Story differences usually come from different people telling the story, right? Why would Mrs. Choi's grandmother tell the story with one character and then remove it on other tellings?
You can tell that they're in the story because butterflies are drawn to the island.
Oh, f*** me yesterday, there's a lady who lives here that just mentioned an abundance of butterflies!
This is the writer's way of establishing characters who will be important further in the story.
It would be nice, though, if these characters talked about innocuous things that had anything to do with this plot whatsoever. Man, making them D&D nerds would have been better than arguing about whether reekage is a word. Hey everybody, let's all gather around the pale girl wearing nothing but a towel.
Story wants to go home, and she can't. Tomorrow night is her last chance.
Are all these people just f***ing going with this shit? because I'd be back upstairs blazing another blunt after piecing the out of this cuckoo party. In this scene, Jeffrey Wright interprets words he solved in a crossword puzzle to form a plan of action. The words, essential, scheme, and soiree, all lead to the conclusion that everyone should stand around Story and confuse the Scrunt's sense of smell. What also could have solved this was just coming up with this plan in the first place without interpreting crossword puzzles, which have many words and are prone to misinterpretation.
She didn't want me to watch When the Eagle Came the first time. But that's before she knew that I was the Guardian. Would I be able to watch now?
How did she not know he was the Guardian immediately? If she could recognize that the writer was the vessel immediately, then what blocked her from recognizing what his role was? Then we find out he's not even the Guardian. A f***ing
Sonorous.
It could be music, a band.
Or that you watch Dead Poet Society.
You don't think this is gonna work, do you?
I don't know why. Since the last time the Scrunt showed up, he was defeated by a run up a flight of stairs. Maybe they should build a tiny stairway next to the pool. Put Story on a landing. Problem solved.
Can you hear me?
Peer over your shoulder carefully.
She went from can't talk about my world and its rules to the point of having to cheat by answering questions via touching my ear to gonna tell you all that like instantly.
You must invoke the ancient words. Nephra Mora.
You're just now telling him this? Why wasn't this covered in the story Cleveland heard from Mrs. Joy?
What is the J.G. Scrunt's reaction?
Look, you can't introduce some sort of modifier like JG to a term we've heard the whole movie and then expect us to know what the that means.
Characters were walking around saying their thoughts out loud. Who does that?
Hard to believe, but Harry Farber now writes for CinemaSins.
I cannot protect you. Where are the Tartunic?
Yeah, where are the I'm sorry. I've already forgotten what that was supposed to even be.
How come you don't ask about bedtime story anymore?
It was literally 1 or 2 days ago max when he lay down on your couch like a self-effacing moron with milk on his upper lip and kicking his free upper leg like a goddamn toddler. What the f*** are you talking about? Okay, look, I know the point here of this shot is that wind is rolling in, being all ominous and but the greater sin is that this party table is f***ing stacked. There's a keg, several Sammy trays in the background, balloons, beer. They have 3 different kinds of napkins. Who the f*** paid for all this shit? This party has more funding than my goddamn wedding reception did.
Don't tell my sister.
That's his sister? Oh wait, I knew that once. Then forgot it because the movie kept bombarding me with shit about scrats and Nerf hoops and shit I don't care about. You could announce you were giving away free marijuana and $10 bills and not have this many people show up to an apartment complex pool party. Honestly, this movie says more about how little M. Night understands apartment dwelling than it does literally anything else. They all live together, so surely they all swim together, and they all show up to a party when the apartment throws one, because why wouldn't they? Also, there would never be a steadying pole on the staircase down into the shallow end of a community pool.
There's a storm coming.
There's the storm coming cliche. I want you to play a guy who only works out one side of his body for science. Sounds rad. And I'll be important to the plot? Not remotely. Oh, well, I'll get some good screen time then, right? Like a few lines and then later at a party here in the background. Oh, well, I'll get paid, right? Scale. Can you at least write me in suddenly at the end to help save the day? Jesus, Freddy. Fine. Now go start working out. But only the right side of your body. We're doing that for real? We're not going to use a prosthetic?
You used up the battery. Wave to him.
Or you can just run 5 feet and tell them to start playing the music. Why does the Scrunt just stop dragging Story? Is it because of the story? Oh. So wait, you're telling me that the Scranton, right after dragging Story through the grass a minute ago, decided to risk being seen and ran down into the dumpster area? And it knew that someone would accidentally leave a door open?
I don't feel like an interpreter. Is it possible that that isn't my purpose?
Well, this is an awesome time to ask this question, regardless of the answer, you dick.
And you will land a fraction of a second too late.
If the Scrunts only attack Narfs and those who say the magic Latin-sounding fighting words, why did it attack the critic? I get the feeling the only reason why this Scrunt dared to go inside the apartment complex is so that M. Night could have this scene, where he could cathartically kill a critic for being such a pompous ass. But it's weird, because Scrunts are like critics themselves. They're geared to kill Narfs, and in this movie, the Narf is named Story. I realize Scrunts could be any kind of force in the universe that attacks or opposes creativity, but I consider this scene to be a critic killing one of its own. Since the Scrunt is the primary antagonist, I'm confused about whether or not I should celebrate Harry's death like the movie does.
It is a ceremony of 7 sisters.
Even if you have a gift of finding hidden meaning in a box of Fruity Pebbles, how do you get that information from the boxes we're seeing in this shot? I'm honestly beginning to believe this is a joke that M. Night is playing on us. But I had that debate when I watched The Happening, and I'm tired of guessing.
You will need a man who has no secrets, and one whose opinion is highly respected as witnesses.
This entire goddamn f***ing crack smoking, alley vagina licking, gutter sludge drinking movie is one person after another just reading to us. Like, why is this door open for any reason? Legend has it in the ancient stories, Skrunts hate it when you use the tumble dry option.
And you make seven. 7 sisters.
Cleveland just now tells Anna this.
Everything's right now.
Let's hope that kid who sees in cereal boxes was right.
I looked at it again. It says he. He will lead a ceremony of 7 sisters to bring strength to the moment.
Goddamn pronoun game. Fucking up my goddamn ceremonial rituals.
Mr. Heap, you brought that butterfly to me. It caught my eye as you walked over.
God damn it. Hell damn ring. If the healer attracts butterflies, why haven't butterflies been swarming around Cleveland this whole time? Did they know to avoid him so that there could be this very thin revelation at the end of this movie?
I met this very nice lady, and her name is Story.
If this is supposed to be a ceremony, it's not a very good one. Why did the Lucky Charms prophecy say ceremony but apparently not mean it? What in the actual is this Skrunt doing? Seriously, there's no way the Skrunt decided to run into this apartment building other than to kill the critic.
Oh my god. Here's the Guardian. Reggie!
All this time, you didn't think the dude who worked out might be the Guardian? What the is he doing out here anyway? Did he just make a plate of food in the rain? Also, there might be several instances in this movie where trying to surprise the audience might not have been the best direction to go. There's absolutely no development of this character, other than his quirky, I only work out on one side of my body nonsense. Then he just shows up out of nowhere to be important. Always with the f***ing Eagles. The Tartudic show up at just the moment where they are the most useless. Take that and that! This'll teach you to do the thing you were born to do. I get the sense that this Skrunt will finally be able to solve the mystery of what happened to Dolores Umbridge. The eagle flies off into the sky with Story, the lady from the water. And this seems to be an incongruent end to the story. M. Night threatens his daughters at the end of the credits.